Welcome back to Fast Market on the TD Ameritrade Network. I'm Tom White, joined by my co-host Kevin Hinks. But let's bring in our next guest for our cash tag segment, and that's going to be Landon Swan, co-founder of LikeFolio. Welcome back, Landon.
Guys, thanks. Appreciate it.
All right. So, there's been a lot of discussions about gas prices, inflationary pressures, EVs starting to pick up the demand side of it. But we're talking Rivian today, and here's a stock that's down about 70%. Rebounding a little bit this month. They had delivery numbers over 4,000. They expect to make 25,000. Their plants here in Illinois, down in Normal. But when I look at a company like this that has a market cap of $27 billion, and they produced what 4,400 cars, delivered 4,400 cars. I mean, are we seeing big sentiment data points on Rivian that equates it to be this much in value?
Well, maybe. I mean, just think they've delivered that 4,000 cars with 25 billion market cap. Imagine when they've delivered 25,000 cars, right? This could be a $1 trillion company.
Right.
No, I think it's obviously they're getting a little a growth in their valuation, I would say. But I will tell you, though, that people are pretty optimistic. Consumers are optimistic about this company. When we look at happiness levels, Rivian actually leads of all the electric car makers at about 82% positive. For reference, Tesla's about 70%. So very high numbers. But again, that's sort of pre-delivery or at least very early delivery. So you're going to have very high numbers as people are very optimistic. You can see, though, that people are talking about actually receiving these cars. They're starting to get excited. They're starting to, anticipate and receive them. And so the mentions are growing at a relatively small rate, 11% quarter over quarter, but still it's growing. And I think that's really what Wall Street wants to see. Investors want to see, are you actually able to make and deliver these cars? Because for a long time it was, the risk was this is just hype. They had an enormous evaluation before they even had a product, as these types of companies have been going lately. But then there was the other side of, well, maybe this is the next Tesla or the Tesla beater, and Tesla's done so well. They went through this exact same cycle of, can you actually deliver? And there was so many doubts for so long, and then they did deliver. So if Rivian can sort of prove that they're able to deliver like Tesla has, and maybe they have a better product, or at least a lot of consumers are anticipating or indicating that they may like it better than Tesla, then this could be a big play. And so I think that's sort of the risk reward. This is a very aggressive move to invest in a company at this stage, and the valuation shows that. But we can see what's driving. I mean, I have a gas-powered vehicle. I think you guys do too as well, and it's painful. You go to the pumps, it is wild, some of the prices that we're paying these days. And you can see, people talking about high-tech cars. That was always cool. That was what drove Tesla for a long time. And then they were the electric vehicle. That drove demand up 200% year over year. But now you've got a whole new factor, and that's gas prices. When gas was $2, $2.50, it wasn't that big of a deal. It was nice to think about plugging it in at home and saving some money. But now, $5, $6, whatever, who knows what the future holds. This is a significant number now, and it can be a very significant part of household budget. And yes, these cars are very expensive, but it would be nice to think about, well, maybe we can just plug into the wall and our electric bill go up slightly, and we'll never have to go to a gas station again. So this is a huge concern for a lot of people, up 600 or 700% year over year. And we don't know where this is going. I mean, we could see $7, $8, $9, maybe $10 a gallon before we go back to $2.50. So if that's the trend, then electric vehicle demand is just going to continue to surge. And if this company can deliver, which they're starting to show maybe they can, it could be a good bet for investors. It's a risky bet, high valuation compared to what they've put out so far. So it's all based on future expectations and growth, but it may pay off.
Landon, I saw something about a week ago that I've never seen before, and that is a truck full of Rivian trucks. It probably had 6 or 8 of them on there, and it caught my eye because they look different, right? And they're produced in Normal, Illinois, home of Illinois State University, alma mater of Sean Cruz and I, by the way, Redbirds. But this company looks like it's turning the corner. Dan Ives raised his price target from $30 to $40. That's significant. He watches these he watches these companies, right? He's big into Tesla. He's watching Rivian. So that's a big price target bump for him. The question that our viewers probably have and investors probably have is, all the metrics that you're seeing, are they legit? Are they turning the corner? Are they something that you could put money into? Because the stock is still relatively cheap. The valuation isn't, but the stock price is relatively cheap. Now, Jeff Bezos is involved in this company, so it's not like they don't have deep pockets, right? But the question is, are they starting to turn the corner towards profitability, or at least enough production cars to put them on the map?
Right. So I think that, when we look at LikeFolio data, we are fantastic at consumer demand. I can't tell you much about the expense side. So overall profit is tough. We've got the top part of that equation. So I can't talk about expenses and how well they're going to do on profit. But on revenue, we do have good insight. And I can remember back looking at Tesla many years ago, and they had significant surges in purchase intent, 400%. 1,500% in the very early days, real big surges of consumer purchase intent year over year. Right now, if you look across all the car companies, Ford's at about plus 28% purchase intent year over year, GM's 38, Tesla's 41, Rivian's at 371. So they're definitely stretching their legs. They're definitely getting attention of consumers, and people are wanting these vehicles. And if you go back to where Tesla was many years ago, and they had a number like plus 400% purchase intent year over year, that was basically pre-production. That was before they were delivering, kind of in the same cycle that Rivian's at right now. And the key was that the demand was there. Everybody wanted the vehicles. Investors seemed to focus on whether or not they could deliver, which is obviously a huge concern. But the fact is that if you've got the consumer demand, you're going to be able to make it work. You have to have that. That is a must. And they do have that core piece, which I think is, that's what LikeFolio data is showing. We're very bullish on the consumer demand side of this company. It's there, and they're starting to show delivery. So I think that at the levels that they're at, the stock is sold off tremendously. You could say it's on sale. I think that if you want to bet on this company, you've at least got the confidence that the consumer demand is definitely behind you.
Yeah, and I think a lot of the analysts that are starting to like this stock, they're looking out 5 to 10 years, because you mentioned that, the comparison with Elon Musk back in 2013 when they produced their first 25,000 cars, the market cap was like 23 billion at that point for Tesla, but it's continued to move higher. But Landon, when you look at consumer sentiment data, like I'm a perfect example. I want to buy an electric car, but I just probably will have to wait because there's just no availability. They're putting on surcharges on even, gas internal combustion engine cars. They're putting surcharges on this. So you can't really get a lot of the products because they're having such demand issues. Does that just start to wane? Do you ever see that wane as far as your data goes where, people are talking about the Rivian, but they're not really going to probably buy one for a couple years?
Yeah, again, go back to Tesla, how it was back, several years ago. We saw the same kind of thing where people wanted it. It was really cool. They couldn't wait. If they were lucky enough to test drive one, they really wanted it. But they couldn't get one, or the parts, the delivery wasn't there. All these things drug out the timeline. And what we saw was that demand did not go away. It actually just built over time because people, maybe you knew somebody who knew somebody that had one, and then you're like, okay, they're starting to come out. It kind of created its own buzz. Now, maybe that was because it was the first real electric vehicle that was amazing, right? There's been electric vehicles before, but they were junk. This Tesla was the real one. So I don't know if they kind of broke that seal and there's nothing for Rivian to kind of piggyback on if that's already gone. But I will tell you that demand absolutely did not go away. It just built over time. So as long as they can deliver some and continue to put out that hype and get that consumers continuing to be interested in buying, I think they'll be fine. The big difference between these two companies, though, is I think there's a Musk factor. I mean, every time Tesla got on stage and reported numbers, or he got on the phone with investors, he could always spin it. I mean, I can remember so many earnings calls where it immediately sold off, and then when he started talking, it bounced back. I don't know that Rivian has that. I think there's a risk there with the leadership just being able to calm investors down and hype consumers up. I don't know if they have that. I think that is a big risk that a lot of people aren't talking about.
Yeah, they do have that backing of Amazon, though, too, which probably provides a little bit of credence for them. But they don't have earnings until like the 10th of August. But do you guys have
August 10th.
Do you have a score that an earnings type score for this company?
Yeah. Yes, if they were reporting today, it would be plus 34. So slightly bullish. You know, in the comfortable camp where we would be bullish, not neutral. But not crazy. And we'll see over the next few weeks if that changes. But right now, plus 34.
Yeah, those delivery numbers beat a lot of the analyst estimates, and that's why we've seen that stock rebound about 16% so far this month. All right, great stuff as always, Landon. Have a great day.
Thanks, guys. Take care.
All right, that's Landon Swan, co-founder of LikeFolio.